Cheshvan, the 7th of Cheshvan, it marked the Hilula of a really great Moroccan origin rabbi. Let's just say he was actually himself born in Israel, but his family was Moroccan. His name was Rabbi Baruch Toledano Z'tl, one of the great rabbis from Morocco of his time. He was actually born in the English year 1883, to be precise, on the 24th of September, and passed away on the 9th of October in the English year 1969. He will become a great rabbi of the congregation. He'll be the founder of the Shechunat Rambam, very interesting enough, in Tiberias, and would write great Torah halacha works in of itself, and become the head of the Jewish court of the rabbis in Yafa, respectively. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born in an area called Peke'in. This, I think, based in the Galil, the Upper Galilee, if I'm not mistaken. This would have been in the English year 1883, to be precise, I think on Chavbet Elul of that specific month in of itself. He was born from great family heritage in of itself. His mother's name was Rabbanit Miriam, and his father's name was Rabbi Toledano. I think they were a great family in itself. I think his mother actually came from the family of Mishpachat Siso in of itself, and they actually came, the family did, from Meknes in Morocco in the English year 1863 originally. This would have been 20 years before he was born, and it was a family with many, many great rabbanim, and they originated from Spain. Actually, I believe his brother was a famous rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Toledano, a rabbi we have spoken about on this series on various occasions before. He would actually learn in Tiberias, one of the 4 holy cities of Israel, along with Tzfat, Hebron, and Jerusalem, under the auspices of Rabbi Yitzchak HaKohen, who was a very great rabbi there. And then later on, he would actually learn with Rabbi Moshe Meir Chai Elikim, very, very great rabbi in of itself, and would learn in various different yeshivas. And I think his father, the yeshiva which he was managing, he would actually study there. While he was young, he was very close, I think, with the great rabbis of the land of Israel at that point in time. And he was really involved within regards to writings, within regards to very many different aspects within regards to the Torah sphere in of itself. He wrote articles especially on literature and on Judaism. And I think in Hamalit, if I'm not mistaken, in various different publications like Haaretz also. And I think there was a Yerushalayim yearbook from Rabbi Abraham Moshe Luntz. He actually contributed to that in itself. I believe in English year, Common English in 1902, he got married to his wife, Rabbanit Chana. I think she actually was the daughter of Rabbi Yosef David Abu Lafia. Very, very great rabbi. Remember, we've spoken about the great rabbinic dynasty of the Abu Lafia family on various occasions, and it's reported they had 7 children, if I'm not mistaken, and very, very interesting enough. I believe it happened to be that Yehuda, I think one of his younger sons, I'm not sure if it was his younger son, unfortunately lost his life in the Independence War, I believe, in 1948. I think that was in Ashdod. Obviously very sad news at that stage in time. In the year 1906, it's actually interesting, he did a Perush, let's just say, Masechet Kala Rabati, which we'll speak about more about that in of itself at a later stage inside this video. So he was very into writing in of itself. So he wrote that tractate. I think this is actually by Rabbi Avram Ben Natan, and using an old manuscript of his, and he brought introduction within regards to it, and revealed, let's just say, the history of his life in of itself. And this, I think, book in of itself received great praise from various historians and rabbis of that point in time. Now, it's actually interesting. I think before the First World War broke out, he served as a rabbi, a teacher, educator in the Peke'in neighborhood, let's just say, in of itself, and was working for the famous, I think, institution at that point in time, Chovevei Tzion. This was in Odessa, if I'm not mistaken. This was a very, very important, I think, a Zionistic-related organization. But I think at that point in time when the First World War broke out, obviously there was much change in the world, and that very much affected him personally. And he actually very much advocated that at that point in time, representatives in Israel should purchase various different Arab villages when they had the chance to purchase it. I think there was discussions and negotiations, but I don't think that specific plan came in to fruition. Now, it's interesting, he also had French nationality, so that would affect him potentially. When there was an outbreak of the First World War, I believe he received an order from the military authorities to actually move his family from Israel to an area called Corsica, if I'm not mistaken, over there. I think this is in the region of France, in the fourth largest island in the Mediterranean Sea. And I think at the end they didn't make the ship that was going from Beirut to go to Corsica. So he would travel with his wife and 3 children at that point in time to Aleppo, to Syria, to Halab, where I think at that point in time there was a big Jewish community and many of the Jewish exiles would actually come there. He would actually serve as a representative for the exiles over there to the leaders of the Jewish community in the city. And I think come what the year 1916, there was an order issued from the Turkish army to recruit various French citizens from Algeria, let's just say, into the ranks in of itself. And there was a huge, he actually worked very, very hard and successfully at the end with various different public figures, including Moshe Sassoon, to cancel this specific conscription, if I'm not mistaken. Then there came the British occupation at the beginning of the Mandate Rule in Israel at that point in time. So he would move back to Tiberias and he would serve as a member of the Sephardic rabbinate in of itself, and he would be a maskir, a secretary of, let's just say, the kihila of the community, and had made huge public activity in that point in time and did great public service in of itself. I believe it's actually interesting, his brother Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Toledano, who he spoke about in a separate video, they worked together, they purchased, I think, reported over 70 dunams of the land in Tiberias, which I'm not mistaken. It reported over that it could have been Maimonides, it was a Maimonides neighborhood, or Mimonia, that was established also over there. This was reported over. They worked to renovate, let's say, the tomb of Rambam in of itself and the tombstone in Damascus, in Syria. And it was reported over that they discovered various manuscripts of the Rambam also on his commentary on the Mishnah in Arabic. And I think there was later Rabbi Baruch would actually translate it into Hebrew. This is what's reported over. It's actually interesting. Yes, it just shows how great the rabbi was. Now, he passed away on October the 9th in English year 1969. We're talking about, at the time of recording, about 55 years ago from time of recording. This would have been the 7th of Cheshvan. He was buried in a mount of rest, Har HaMenuchot, the Mount of Rest place in Jerusalem. Now, he had notable, let's just say, descendants, including a Shmuel Toledano. I think he was actually reported over to have been the deputy head of the Mossad and advisor in the Prime Minister's office of Levi Eshkol, Golda Meir, and Yitzhak Rabin. Very interesting. And he was a member of the Knesset of one of the political parties. He has a grandson called Ehud Toledano. I think he's a professor. And he's part of the Department of Middle Eastern and African History and of the Tel Aviv University in itself. I'm not too sure if that's still the case, but he had various different academic roles in of itself. Now let's explore some of the great books of Rabbi Toledano in of itself, because he wrote a lot of works, as we stated about at the start of this video. There was a perush on Masechet Kala Rabati, which was, I think, based on Rabbi Avram ben Natan. Very interesting. Now, this was printed in Jerusalem in the year Heit Hafresh Samach Vav. Then there was a Hamanhik Hashalem, which was another great chibur, I think, using Rav Avram ben Natan in of itself. Hamadrich Hamafsik, which was the Me'et Harav Tanchum HaYerushalmi. This was printed, I think, in a manuscript form and translated into Hebrew in of itself in two Chalakim, 2 volumes. This was printed eventually in Tel Aviv. Then there was a Perush Mishnah Mesachet Yomah of the Rambam, which was a Targum, a translation into Hebrew in of itself. And I believe many other works. He would also publish various different articles. Let's explore some of the articles. Famous ones he did. Makom Kever Arambam. This was featured in Haaretz, if I'm not mistaken. Then there was Sefer Torah Shenichtav Al Yedei Haran Girondi. This was also a Haaretz article. Another Haaretz article was a Haketa Shel Chalab, Haketa Shel Damasek. And then Tmunot Rambam Amitit or Mezuyafat Hatsupa. This was another one. The Tveria B'Sifrei HaPoskim. This was another publication somewhere. In the Tarbit, so it was a Hosfot V'Shinuyim B'Sefer Yechus Tzadikim. Then in the Tarbit, once again, the Korot HaYishuv B'Yerushalayim and the HaYishuv HaYudi B'Tzipuri. and also in the Tarbit in the year Heita Fresh Tzidikhet, the Hatachtovot Ben Yerushalayim LeTunis. Very interesting, he wrote a lot of articles in of itself. Among his rabbis include Rabbi Meir Chai Elikim and Rabbi Yitzchak HaKohen, which we mentioned before. He was the head of Jewish court. He himself, we're talking about, Rabbi of Jaffa, the secretary for the rabbis of the Sephardi congregation of Tiberias in of itself. Very great rabbi. Zayin Cheshvan Vosesi Elula. Please, friends, if you happen to be related to any of these great rabbis we are relating over videos within regards to, please send me an email, send me more information. We're a community here. Please subscribe to the channel. Wishing you well and take care.